Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
One of the firsts, actually, but
of what's the name? What's the name of our show?
we have no name.
Welcome back to
The shit show. You can want to call it the shit show.
to Shirt Dirt Mert.
Shit dirt on Mert.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about sandals. We're going to be talking about the world as we know it, and we are going to be talking about movies.
Specifically the Oscars.
Yes.
Yeah.
So today it's a Sunday, September 16th. It is currently 3:45, and even though the Oscars are many months away and we don't even know what is featured or nominated, we are going to be talking about the new category. What was it? Best popular film?
Yeah, it was the best popular film. Like, as if like they couldn't even get more elitist in this case.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about that best popular category?
I think it's bullshit, in my opinion, because like the whole they couldn't even. The thing about the Oscars is that they've always had a very specific thing with films. Like, they never, so far as I'm concerned, I've never seen a best film. There's like very specific movies that the Oscars don't go for it. They don't give us the best win, specifically best win Oscars to sci-fi movies, especially action movies. I mean, apart, like, there's some movies that have action, but like they're mostly like basically like war movies or historical dramas or biopics. And some of them may have action in them, but like not like die-hard action movies or something along the lines of what's a good action movie?
Well, the new Mission Impossible was pretty good.
Yeah, I say that was a good movie, but like Oscar worthy, like that's the thing about that. Is it Oscar worthy? I think Dunkirk. Well, that's a war movie. No.
That was nominated.
Yeah.
But so action movies, I feel like there aren't many action movies that are great in the sense of like best picture worthy.
Yeah, like you can say like there's a very specific structure to that. Like, but sci-fi movies, they have a lot of in depth in their scripts and the way they do everything else. But and I've researched this and I did an assignment on this. There's like zero best picture wins of any sci-fi movie at all.
Yeah. So I definitely agree that sci-fi movies are capable of being, or some of them are like best picture worthy, and they get snubbed a lot. I support the sci-fi movies a lot more than action movies, but because I feel like there are not a lot of amazing action movies like there are amazing sci-fi movies. Like, for example, like last year or whenever it came out, but Blade Runner 2049.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Like when I watched that movie, I just
like that's an example of a great sci-fi movie that is Oscar worthy. I mean, it did win best cinematography, but I don't know if it was
which Roger Deakins did deserve after 12 fucking nominations and 12 fucking snubs.
Yep. But it wasn't nominated for best picture, right?
No, I don't think it. We can check that out, but I don't think it was nominated for best picture. Because it didn't make a lot of money.
No.
It flopped in the box office. It didn't make money for box office, and there's like many reasons for it. But I think this whole best popular picture thing, I think it's bullshit. The only reason they did this was because, I mean, these times superhero movies are now like every season, like spring, summer, winter, you're gonna get a superhero movie. Or like a Star Wars movie. You know what they actually should have called this, like the best. They shouldn't even call it the best popular picture. award. They should just like the best Disney movie, like just every fucking like any whatever goes into that section. Most likely, Disney's movies are going to be the ones who are going to get it and get it because like one, Disney mostly owns them. Like Disney owns the superhero genre, basically speaking. So who else is in the game? No one. Yeah. Like Warner Brothers is struggling with DC. They don't know what they're doing with it. Apart from that, they have Star Wars. They just bought Fox, and we don't know what that's going to go like. But they've dominated the box office with their superhero movies and their Star Wars, man. And like the best popular picture, honestly, most of the time it's probably going to be Disney. I'd say, and they do a good job with that. But what I didn't like for example, what I didn't like about the best popular picture is that it assumed that there's like something that's entertaining cannot be Oscar worthy, cannot be a best film movie. Something that's like something that is that has entertainment value, but at the same time has critical value. They're just dividing that up, and I don't think that's a good thing. That's not a good way of celebrating films. That's not a good way of acknowledging what a good film is. Then, I mean, we have, like, for example, Logan. Logan was, well, it is under the superhero genre, yeah, because Wolverine is a superhero character, but the fact that, what the fuck?
Damn, bro. Forgot to put it on silent?
Yeah, I did put it on. I thought I did put it on silent. Whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, as I was saying, like that whole the Logan thing is an interesting case. In case study, it did get nominated for a best adapted screenplay, which I thought was great.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, I'd say that was one of the best movies of the year, and one of the best movies of the year because it really subverted the genre. It really made it look like it wasn't a superhero movie, but more like a movie about it was like a character study with claws in it and superheroes in it and superhero powers in it and an evil guy with it. But it did feel it had a Western feel to it. It was very independent movie like ish kind of movie. And yet, when I go and see Logan, even though it was only the best adapted screenplay, which I think is more like, oh, we can't give you the best pictures nomination, but we can just give you, a screenplay nomination. It still was good to feel that the Oscar were acknowledging the value of that movie.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely really liked how they included Logan in, like for best adapted screenplay. I thought that was really nice. Because it did deserve it. I thought like, the writing was really good. And like you said, it like was still a superhero movie, but it was completely different from what we're used to seeing as a superhero movie. And that's why I think it was nominated for best adapted screenplay, was because it's a different type of superhero movie. But back to the whole popular movie thing. It's not, my issue isn't with that Disney's going to win. I mean, it's my issue with it is that it's not really imaginative. I mean, you can basically just look up like the highest grossing movie online, and you'll pretty much already have your answer. Like Black Panther this summer or the beginning of this year, and then Avengers: Infinity War. They've brought the most money to the box office, and it's already easy to tell that those two movies are likely going to win Best Popular just because of how much money they brought in, and just like how much people have been talking about it, like on the internet too, just like around. So it's kind of a pointless category because we already know either what's going to be nominated for Best Popular Film and potentially what could win. Like there's nothing special about it. Whereas like with Best Picture and relatively all the other categories, you're guessing. It's never certain. Like last year, there were a shit ton of Best Picture nominations. I don't remember all of them, but like Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Call Me by Your Name. There was so many, and they were all so great in their own way that it was hard for me to kind of decide which one I wanted to win and which one I thought they were going to pick as a winner. So it's like a guessing game, and like when you go to like Oscar viewing parties, you have like those little ballots, and you pick which one you think is going to win and see which one corrected or guessed correctly the most. It's like it's never certain, and that's why it's fun, the Oscars. But with Best Popular Movie, it sort of takes away that fun because it's obvious.
Do agree with that in some cases, like for example, but my thing with this that, well, maybe that's because I'm more into the film industry than my other friends, is that because we constantly are up to date on what's going on in the films, we sort of know, and looking at the past winners of the Oscars, you sort of get a feel of what's an Oscar, who's going to win certain awards. Like a lot of people, like for example, it would either come to two movies. Like people would like, okay, probably that movie's going to win for like adapted screenplay or original screenplay. People sort of knew which kind of movie, or especially for technical awards or best actor. Like a lot of times, because if you're voting in the Oscars, you're most likely in the film industry. If you're in the film industry, you're also voting in other awards, like the PGA awards, the DGA, the Writers Guild awards. And and the people who vote for those movies, let's say, I remember 2 years ago, I think it was Manchester by the Sea, like, or in Casey Affleck's case, or like the other awards, like the Directors Guild Award. Most of the time, there's like a big correlation between those awards and the Oscars. Like when Casey Affleck, let's say, won the best. Oh no, it wasn't that case. It wasn't that one. Okay. I think it was
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, it was. What was it? No. Okay, whatever. What I'm saying is basically, if let's say a movie is won in either of those guild awards, or let's say in a festival award, most likely they're going to win the same awards in the Oscars. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm basically saying it is. So there is a degree of predictability in the Oscars. That's why there's this, like last year, half of people guessed half of what they thought was going to win. Like there's not much of a surprise when it comes to the Oscars. There may be a surprise in like Best Picture. But like just in 2016, you remember it was always between either La La Land or Moonlight, and most of the time people thought it was going to be La La Land, and that was a very surprising year because La La Land won almost all the awards, and I think Moonlight only won one of the, either it was a Golden Globe or it was another award, and La La Land basically swept pretty much most. Like people knew that La La Land was going to win because there was a big hype by both by the audience as well as critics as well as filmmakers go far, and people knew that the director of La La Land was going to win. People knew that they were going to win best music, best best original song, whatever. So there's a degree of predictability. And also, you sort of know what's sort of an Oscar movie and what time they sort of put out those movies.
Yeah, definitely.
Like October, November, those movies are like always the Oscar bait movies. Like they're very specific. Like last year, Gary Oldman's movie, the most Oscar baity movie of all. I think like recent year. A movie about is a biopic, played by a great actor, and he's transforming himself in a physical manner extremely, and he's playing some historical figure, Winston Churchill. Like that's Oscar level stuff. And I think people are sort of tired about that. They're sort of tired about the classic Oscar formula. And one thing I liked about Moonlight, it was like it was very artistic, it was very creative. It touched up on social issues and so on, but it didn't feel like a typical historical biopic or a war movie or like any kind of those things, because most of those movies they always get the Oscar nominations, especially the last 50 years. I've checked upon it. It's war movies, it's historical biopics, it's biographies, anything that's related in the past. It's most of the time it's never about the present or the future, especially the future. There's zero movies that won a best picture that was set in the future. None of them. And that's why like there's no sci-fi movies except I think Lord of the Rings could be the exception to that rule.
Yeah.
Where it did won best picture.
Yeah, the third one won like 11 Academy Awards or something like that. I don't know if that's right, but that won a lot. So that is an exception. But and I do agree with you on the sense that like there is a certain predictability to Oscar nominations and like who's going to win. Like La La Land, it's obvious that they're going to win best music because it's a musical, and that's the whole point of the movie, or like a big point of the movie. But I still think that there is some sort of ambiguity, and you're not entirely sure. Like you're pretty confident that like, oh, I think La La Land's going to win for costume design or something, but you're still not 100% certain all the time. But with best popular movie, like when the movie comes out, like because of the hype there is around it, or like how much money it made, or like.
Do you think it's because of the movie, or do you think it's because of like the money, not the movie, the money, or is it because it's just like it's just as popular? Like superhero movies are the popular stuff, Star Wars. Like, is it because it's like? Do you think like the Oscars made that category not because like they win a lot of money, it's just because they're a specific genre that they don't want to be in the best picture category. They want to sort of separate that out. They want the smaller movies in the best picture category rather than the big movies, the big production, big scale scale production wise movies like Infinity War, which is like what it cost, like it's like $1 billion. It cost $1 billion, right? To make, yeah.
I don't know. Well, I think both of them, like Infinity War and then one after that, I think together they cost $1 billion. But so yeah, it could be that they're making it to sort of like separate the crowds from big movies and little movies. But I think if that's the goal, like if that's what they're trying to do, then they should at least make it a little more clever and inclusive. Like if they wanted to separate superhero movies or like big blockbuster action movies away from the whole best picture category, then maybe like make it a little more interesting, like maybe like best action movie of the year, or
to diversify the genre, exactly. By genre, like best action movie, best superhero movie, best comedy.
Yeah.
And that the diversify, and then you have the best picture of all of them.
If they wanted to do it like that, I'd say it'd be better to do it like that than best popular movie, because best popular movie is kind of lazy and unoriginal.
How so?
Because you already know what it's going to be, or you have a really strong guess. Like,
can you like give me an example of that? Like how, like let's say this is about like 2 years later, and what would be the formula of best popular picture?
Well, just like whichever movie's talked about the most. Like Insidious Chapter 4, whichever chapter that came out at the beginning of this year, it's not popular compared to Black Panther. Like Black Panther, everybody saw it. And because everybody saw it and like everybody talked about it for so many months after, that's going to win. Like you already know who the winner is going to be. and just making a category about that is like kind of pointless. Like, yeah, sure, it gives another person an Academy Award and it like rewards them for the work they did for a movie. It's amazing, but like, so like I said earlier about how they should do, instead of best popular, they should do like best action movie or best comedy, like categorize it. It makes it better because it's not about the popularity of the movie. It's not about what people are talking about the most. It's about whether the action movie or the superhero movie was different, like if it was good, like how does it compare to others, like what makes it a good movie. Like, popularity does not make a movie good.
I agree.
It just makes a movie more talked about. So it's not really applauding good movies. Like, you could have a terrible movie be the most popular movie of a year, and because it's the most popular, it could win the award when it shouldn't because it's a terrible movie. But if you if you differentiate the movies from one another, like, oh, best superhero movie, then they can they won't be obligated to pick the most popular superhero movie that came out. They can pick the one that they think was the best crafted and the best acted and well written, like all that. They can consider all the factors and not just popularity as the factor.
Maybe the first thing that they look for is probably like the quality of the movie, and like the popularity is like, so like in the it's more like you will win this award on the condition that you had a big box office success and you were pretty talked about, and you're probably like this movie was 4 blockbusters specifically, and you were a blockbuster movie and you want a shit ton of money, but on the condition of those factors, we're still going to look at the quality of your work. We're going to still look at the quality of your story. We're going to look at the performance of the actors, actresses. Like Transformers, I think, would not be like, it may be nominated for best popular picture, but I don't think it would win. Like any Transformers movie would be in that category, but maybe Black Panther, which was also a blockbuster movie, but I think it had a really good story, had a really good villain, great performance, great directing, great editing. I think is a great fit for that category, and also worthy of a win.
Yes, I do agree that. So Black Panther was like one of the most popular movies of the year so far, but I do think it was well deserved because it, like you said, great acting, great performances, great villain. Like it was a different Marvel movie compared to like all the other ones. It wasn't just like generic plot, generic villain. Like it was really good, and I think if Black Panther did win the award for Best Popular, it would be well deserved because it is a popular movie, but also it's a well done, entertaining, and engaging popular movie.
What do you think is So I have 2 questions. Let's go with the first one. Who do you think for this year could be in the Best Popular Picture category for nomination?
Avengers.
Yeah, Infinity War.
Black Panther. I guess maybe the Bumblebee or whatever, it's coming out later this year. Is there another Star Wars? Or I guess Solo would be considered one. Mission Impossible even.
I said Mission Impossible would be good. Yeah. Solo, I don't.
I think it would be just because it's a Star Wars movie. Like, it did not do well at all, but...
I mean, if that's the case, I really would not want that category. If that's the case, if there's a category where, like, in terms of, like, you're awarding a movie based on its quality, like, in terms of quality, I would not want Solo to be in that category. Or any Transformers movie. I agree, like, Black Panther is a good pick. Mission Impossible as well. Apart from that, I mean, I don't know if this counts, but like A Quiet Place,
Oh yeah, I could see A Quiet Place.
like would that be like that's sort of complicating the formula, because I think A Quiet Place would be a good, like in terms of horror, like even like it would be a good pick for best, just the best picture nomination, Like it had a good story. It was a very original concept, but like, and it did win a lot of money for a horror film. But like, I don't see it like it would feel weird for it to be right next to a blockbuster like that,
Yeah.
in the best popular picture, where it could have been right, a contender for the best picture win. Apart from that, apart from the best popular picture, those nominations, I think a good. Well, do you have any ideas? Anything else? I mean, are those the only two? Of course, the year's not ended, so I'm not. Yeah, Deadpool. Yeah. Um, that.
Incredibles 2.
Yeah, Incredibles 2 could be a good pick. Yeah.
Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, or whatever the second Jurassic World is called. That would be probably nominated, just because of how much money it made. But so my biggest issue with the popular category is that it doesn't, at least from based on the title itself, it feels like it won't prioritize the quality of a movie. So like a movie could be super popular but kind of trash, whereas a movie that's not that popular could be great but still not popular and not fit for the most popular movie of the year. So it
Wouldn't that be in the best picture category?
well, I'm talking about like Mission Impossible. It's not nearly as popular as the other superhero movies, so it's not as popular. So it could potentially not win because it's not popular. So I don't love the idea of a most popular movie, whatever the title is called, because it doesn't focus primarily on the style and the quality of a movie, or not style, just the quality and like whether it's good or not. But I feel
I don't think they even like the Academy even knows how to like find a way who to pick, because like they've postponed this like 2 times, I think. Like they're delaying the list of it. Like they're trying to figure out if they even should have this category or not, and that's sort of that's worrisome. Like I don't think they even know how to figure this out, of how to divide. Because usually what happens, if there's a good movie, if there's let's say in Oscar season, like in November or October, if there's like a really, really good movie, that just, it's, that's great. It gains popularity a lot. It's topping up all the awards and stuff. Would it? My question is, how would you differentiate that's popular and critical? You know what I mean? Like, how could you divide something that's both popular and at the same time critically good? Yeah. Like, how can you divide? Like, do you divide by genre? Like, do you divide by like, okay, one's more of an art house type of movie and the other is more, I don't know, more lenient to the blockbuster feel? Like, do you divide by that? Do you divide by superhero versus drama, or action versus, comedy or drama, or musical? Like, you keep the musicals in the best picture place while keeping all the, the superhero / blockbuster / action, / future, sci-fi movies.
I think they would. I think they wouldn't really care about genre. I think they just, whatever's most popular and most talked about, they just throw it in, put a mix of every genre in there, and then just pick which one is the most popular. And then if one of those movies also happens to be really great, then they just add it again into Best Picture category. Yeah. So I think they should, instead of doing Best Popular, they should do like different genres, like kind of how Golden Globe does Best Comedy / Musical. And then they also have the Best Drama or whatever. They have two different categories for Best Picture, pretty much. So I think Oscars should do something more like that. But if they want to still have that spirit of popularity, then maybe do like Best Superhero or Best Action, something in regards to that.
Yeah, I sort of agree. Like Academy last year, they had the lowest rating in terms of viewership. Like it had the lowest viewership for like decades. I think this is what they've been trying to, get people to watch the Oscars a little bit more, to say like, hey, yeah, we know that you like all these, blockbuster action superhero movies. And for that, we're going to recognize that, but we're also sort of not going to recognize that. I think that's the problem with a lot of people have, is like they couldn't get out of their comfort zone to add in quality blockbuster movies to the Best Picture nominations. I think maybe this was a marketing strategy to like get people to Oscars, see more by adding more blockbuster movies, to have a very specific category for blockbuster / action / superhero movies, and Disney and Star Wars movies. But I think it's sort of it's backfiring them, and they don't know what they're gonna do this year. But yeah, who do you think is gonna be? Who do you think can be the next? What do you think this year is gonna be in the Best Picture nom? If we're gonna like finish off this session.
We should probably wrap up soon. I don't know. 8th Grade, maybe. I haven't seen it, but I hear a lot of great things about it. I'm just trying to think of all the A24 movies because I feel like those are gonna get nominated.
Yeah, they have that like sort of reputation. Like okay, we make movies specifically for Oscars. I'd say A Quiet Place could be one, definitely.
Do you think Black Panther could be
Best Picture? Maybe.
Because it was really critics really like that one.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Depends on how they're gonna formulate this new Best Picture, Best Popular Picture, category. I'd say A Quiet Place would be a good contender. In terms of, I think for Best Original Screenplay or adapt, I'm not sure. Best Screenplay, I think that horror movie. Remember that the Hereditary. Hereditary. Yeah. That one. Yeah. That was The Incredibles, definitely for best animation.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible, probably for a lot of the technical stuff.
Yeah.
Like editing, maybe sound mixing, sound editing. Apart from that, Best Picture. I mean, we're still not an Oscar season.
Yeah. No,
so. I mean, we'll see. November, October.
Let me see.
I don't think maybe Predator may be in the Best Popular for Best Popular. Yeah, maybe Predator.
No, I couldn't see Predator. Oh, A Star Is Born. I feel like that could be the one with Lady Gaga. I feel like that could be nominated for Best Picture. First Man, the Moon one, because that one's directed by Damien Chazelle.
Oh yeah, La La Land, yeah.
That movie by Jonah Hill, mid-90s, maybe. It's A24, so maybe.
Most likely.
Yeah, that's Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I really want to watch that movie.
Me too.
Okay then. Well, yeah. Okay, we should also still like do another Oscar side, or like when the Oscar season's done and the year's done, we should like definitely.
If I see all of them, definitely.
If you see all of them,
Because I did not see all of them last year.
well, you will with me. Okay. All right.
That's it. All right. Thanks for joining us on whatever this is called.
Shit show.
Yeah.
Okay. Or Mercer show.
Mert Shirt Dirt Show.
Whatever. Okay.
right.
All right.
Peace.
Wait.